So tell us about that canvas. Tell us,
Yes.
It's been since 2004.
Yeah.
Tell us about, it's now 2015.
Yeah.
Tell us about the portfolio of businesses that you've built over time. We'd love to hear about the
I
successes
see.
as well as
Yeah.
the failures.
So first of all, I'd be the first to say that I am the articulate fool. In that, or I'll say it better to say, Warren Buffett has this great saying, which is the superior market forces will beat or trump good or bad management. It's kind of, I guess, it's a way of saying that look, we get lucky. We are a lot of times where we are in life because we're kind of riding a trend or a wave, or there are market forces that kind of buoy us. We have the wind at our back, and so in however we want to define my business successes or failures, we understand that certainly the successes are things that I'm constantly examining whether they were deserved or not, and what I might have done to do them. I think oftentimes I got very, very lucky. So the portfolio of businesses that I am involved with range. So currently, it's probably helpful to talk about in terms of how I spend my time on a weekly basis. I spend a few days a week at PicMonkey.com. And PicMonkey is I would claim it's the internet's most popular photo editor and photo collaging tool. It's a fantastic tool. It's very fun and delightful and performant. And we have anywhere between 25 to 30 million visits a month. And so we're officially operating at scale. In case anybody wants to know, that's more traffic than Shutterfly or Snapfish or Tiny Prints and those companies. We're not as big as them, and we're not as famous as them, but maybe we'll get there someday. The other one that I spend a couple of days a week at would be GeekWire. And so GeekWire, I love that as more of a media press business. Those of you who are not in tech may not read things like GeekWire on a regular basis, but my goal is to it's the region's leading technology business news site, and we have reporters and events people and business people, salespeople, and PicMonkey is about 31 people. GeekWire is about plus extended team, I think maybe 11 or 12. But it's a fun business, and maybe I'll use that difference between the two businesses as a way to underscore something that's also a value of mine as a business person, which is don't be afraid to change up. Just because a lot of people were surprised when I did my game startup when I was in my 20s, then I went to Microsoft. Then I did FatBits, which was the one in 2004 where I was going, should I leave Microsoft? Okay, I'm going to do it. So that was FatBits. Then I did Picnic, which was a photo site. And then I was at Google again. And then I did PicMonkey. Then all of a sudden GeekWire was sort of a surprise. That was not what everyone expected me to do. And I think that's healthy. I think it's good to keep yourself on your toes. And pick up new skills and grow and learn at every chapter. But more on that later. So there's GeekWire, and I spend a lot of time there. And it's out of things like GeekWire that I think that I get exposed to wonderful entrepreneurs like you, like all of you, and that's the value that's what I like the most. If I was helming any other type of startup in town, I think my ability to cross segments, to connect with others who are doing startups is probably a lot less. So, and then I'm also an active angel investor, and sometimes I go in cycles. Some years I'm much more active and I do several deals a year, and some years I'm much less active. But where I lead investment rounds in startup companies where they're certainly more sophisticated than I ever was when I was in 2004 starting FatBits, where they are needing to raise $750 to $1.4 million. It's an angel round, and this round gets them off the ground to build their product. It gets real customers, and it positions them well to do a Series A or Series B later. And so I do that as well. And in that capacity, there are a couple of companies in the healthcare segment, one in the sort of social media, sports area, and I'm about to kick off one. I'm also putting my money where my mouth is, supporting female-owned
Nice.
entrepreneurship, and so
Write that down.
so sort of the great of two very smart women who are the co-founders. It's called Glam Hive, and they're live. They've got a great first version website and app, and I'm going to be leading their round and kicking that off. So that gives you some. Oh well, there's bricks and mortar stuff too, but.
Yeah, let's hear about it.
So when I was about midway through my career at Microsoft, and I think maybe to turn this into something relevant to entrepreneurs is, again, don't be afraid to switch hats, to switch gears and to pick up new skills, because sometimes that cross synergy is beneficial. So if you're a chef, or if you're in biotech, or whatever walk of life you're at, you are going to. That's going to be a value add. You're going to apply some of that framework into your new thing.
Yeah.
So when I was mid-career at Microsoft, I decided, gosh, I am really all in on this tech thing, right? I have stock options that are Microsoft stock options. When I think about my 401k at Microsoft, it's all invested in Microsoft and Apple, and it's all tech, and I decided to diversify. So I've always been very interested in real estate, and so I decided to, and another, I think, value I have as a business person is that I am a value investor more than I am, say, a classic growth investor. So I started noticing something that was kind of a bug in the matrix in Seattle, which was that there was a certain class of commercial real estate that was there's the square footage was there.
Right.
It's in a cool neighborhood on Capitol Hill or Belltown, but it's kind of like the ugly duckling or the not noticed type of like it could use a little TLC, and that class of building, I would say under 25,000 square feet, cheap or undervalued on a per square footage basis, right? And in fact, I hope this doesn't sound whatever, but it's factually true. But I was noticing when I was at Microsoft that my friends, my colleagues, I had already been living in a house that I'd owned for like 10 plus years, but I was noticing friends of mine would like kind of step up, right? They would buy that, I think I'm going to get a bigger house now, and what they were paying for a residential property at that time, that was their step up, was more than what some of these commercial properties were worth. Now, you guys are all here because you're savvy business people and entrepreneurs. That's the bug in the matrix, right? Wait, that doesn't make sense. And of course, later the market corrected. One went up and one went down. And so when you see opportunities like that, make a move when you're ready to do that. And so out of the commercial real estate investment came other things. It enabled me to be exposed to other things. So sometimes if I developed a property, say in Belltown on 4th Avenue where the Spitfire is, I own that building, and I'm also one of the two owners of the Spitfire. At that point, I thought, oh, for sure, I'm going to be able to convince someone to be my tenant, and they'll sign like a 10-year lease. Great. Couldn't do that. I was a little early on the real estate component, on the real estate side, and so I decided, well, why don't I become my own tenant?
Right.
And perhaps I'll also highlight another thing that's a value of mine, which is if you see some synergy, if you can think out of the box a little bit and see some synergy, wait a second, it's actually good that I'm on both the landlord side and the tenant side, right? Number one, if the hot water heater breaks, I know who to call. Oh, that's me, right? Number two, I just need the tenant, well, that's me, to pay the mortgage. That's all it needs to do, right? And so there are a lot of interesting synergies that come out of that, and so that's what led me to owning, say, bars and restaurants, and then that led to some other things. But I love the exposure that I get to the young people that work at these establishments. I get to be in touch, I think, like tonight, with a cross-section of non-tech people, and so I feel like that makes me better as a tech entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur in general, because I'm a little bit more in touch with what people are thinking about.